pissed off. And I was like, you know what? Like, why would you want to be there, you know? And then looking at it, like, you've been shading me since the first episode. Like, I didn't know, like, you know, it's just a lot of things were going on behind my back that I did not know about. And I was just kind of hurt and shocked by it. Yeah. And I just wanted to let her know, like, I'm not a pushover and you ain't gonna get away with it.
Sweet Tea is finally speaking out, and she's not holding anything back. After months of rumors, backstabbing, and shady confessions, the truth is coming to light, and it's hotter than ever. Dr. Mimi is right at the center of it all. If you've been following Married to Medicine, you know that Sweet Tea's journey hasn't been easy. When she first came in as Dr. Gregory Lunsford's wife, she stepped into a group that already had established friendships. Let's face it, most of the women weren't exactly thrilled to have her around. From the beginning, she was met with criticism, side eyes, and tons of drama, especially with Quad Webb still in the picture. At first, it looked like Dr. Mimi was one of the few people who supported Sweet Tea.
Married to Medicine star Letitia is slamming Dr. Mimi on social media, claiming that people behind the scenes were trying to have her film at Dr. Mimi's office in order to make her look crazy. So in response to what a comment said that Dr. Mimi and Steve were not her friends, she says, "We were never real friends. They were cast and we were asked to invite them onto the show. There were even plans for me to film in her office, which I refused. I heard it through the grapevine that they wanted to have a storyline with me seeing Mimi and painting me to be crazy. Funny how some call themselves, quote, real friends, yet plan an entire season without even consulting you of what the plans are."
Mimi seemed to genuinely care, offering advice, encouragement, and acting like she was in Sweet Tea's corner. She made it seem like she wanted Sweet Tea to succeed. But now, Sweet Tea is making it clear that their friendship might not have been as real as everyone thought. What she revealed changes everything, and trust me, you won't believe how deep this betrayal really goes. Dr. Mimi appeared to be Sweet Tea's only true friend at the start. She was the one giving her advice, telling her to ignore the drama, and focusing on her marriage. She even seemed to defend Sweet Tea when things got heated with the other women. But fans started to notice something strange. Dr. Mimi wasn't always as supportive as she seemed in group settings. While she played the role of Sweet Tea's ally on the show, in her private confessional interviews, she said some pretty harsh things.
This is my home. Like, why? I mean, it's bothering y'all more than it's bothering me. This is my home. You know, it doesn't really matter. Oh, who cares? It was their old marital home. It was his home first. He moved her in. And then she left. And then that was it. It was still his home. So, you know, it wasn't like me coming here and it was a bunch of pictures of them. No, everything was empty. It was my blank canvas and I got to decorating and all that.
One moment, Mimi would tell Sweet Tea she understood how hard it was to be an outsider, but in her solo interviews, she was throwing shade, saying Sweet Tea wasn't built for this group and was too emotional to handle the pressure. Fans quickly caught on to the contradiction, and social media was flooded with reactions. Tweets and Instagram posts started calling out Dr. Mimi for being two-faced, acting like Sweet Tea's friend 1 minute, and then turning around to clown her the next. Things took a turn when Sweet Tea finally saw what Dr. Mimi had been saying behind her back. Sweet Tea had been dealing with tension in the group for a while, but nothing could have prepared her for what she revealed in a shocking Instagram post. She went all out, exposing the truth about her so-called friendship with Dr. Mimi, and she didn't hold back. She said, and I quote, "We were never real friends. They were cast, and we were asked to invite them onto the show." Let that sink in for a moment. That one sentence flipped everything upside down. It wasn't just about Dr. Mimi anymore, this was about the entire show. If Sweet Tea is telling the truth, then her relationship with Mimi was never real to begin with. It was manufactured for TV. This revelation raised serious questions about Dr. Mimi and her husband, Dr. Steve Sanders. Were they really there to form genuine relationships, or were they just playing a part to get on the show?
Actually appeared on an episode earlier as friends of him and Quad. Obviously, he was married to Quad. I couldn't find the episode. Whatever y'all put in the chat was wrong, so I couldn't find it. And I went back and I'm like, look, somebody got to give me the exact episode or close, to the right episode, because I just couldn't find it. But This is what T said. They were cast and we were asked to invite them onto the show. There were even plans for me to film in her office, which I refused. I heard it through the grapevine that they wanted to have a storyline with me seeing Mimi and painting me to be crazy. Now, I done told y'all over and over again that this is what they were trying to do.
Reality TV producers are known for creating drama. And if this is the case, it makes you wonder how many of the relationships on the show are actually real. Fans were stunned by Sweet T's confession, but it gets worse. Just wait until you hear about how Mimi allegedly tried to set Sweet T up for failure. This is where things really start to get messy. Sweet T didn't just call out Mimi for being fake, she also accused certain cast members, including Dr. Mimi, of trying to push a storyline that would make her look crazy. According to Sweet T, there were discussions about filming therapy-like scenes in Dr. Mimi's office, where Mimi could supposedly evaluate Sweet T's mental state. Essentially, Sweet T would spill her emotions, and the producers would have all the material they needed to portray her as unhinged on camera. If this is true, it's not just shady, it's calculated. Imagine thinking you have a friend who has your back, only to find out that they may have been part of a plan to make you look bad on national television. Fans weren't having it. Social media exploded with outrage. People were calling out Dr. Mimi for playing both sides, questioning whether the entire storyline was planned from the start. One person commented, "Dr. Mimi really had us fooled. She acted like she was helping Sweet T, but the whole time she was playing both sides." Another added, "Sweet T walked into a setup, and now she's finally realizing it." The way these ladies move is wild. Nobody is really your friend in reality TV. But the betrayals didn't end there. Sweet T started noticing something else. She was becoming more isolated, and it seemed like the cast members were starting to pick sides.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. Mimi may have tried to set up, I don't doubt it. Shit, I need to sit in Mimi off because there are a lot of people. Mimi is a good psychiatrist. Like, you could tell she really acts like a doctor on the show. She's clinical. She gives people, but don't be diagnosing me on no reality TV, Mimi. But I think that Mimi is true to her craft. So I don't know anything about that. Like I say, like even like with Phaedra filming with us, with them, I ain't know that Phaedra filmed anymore. All I do know is at the Met Gala, I wasn't even there. I mean, at the diabetes event, they said that Phaedra came. I wasn't there because me and Quad left early. They say Phaedra came, but they didn't even play her because she had no reason to be there. They did one more scene with Phaedra. I ain't know nothing about that. I don't know nothing about that. I ain't know nothing about it. So I thought that was it for her after the couples trip. But yeah.
At first, it seemed like Dr. Mimi was defending Sweet T against the other women's judgment. But over time, fans began to see a shift. Mimi wasn't standing up for Sweet T as much, and she started becoming chummy with Quad and the other original cast members. Now, we all know that Quad Webb wasn't a fan of Sweet T from the start. When Sweet T came in as Dr. Gregory Lunsford's new wife, Quad made it clear that she used to be in that position, and she wasn't thrilled about Sweet T taking her place. Things took a dramatic turn when Quad gave the ultimatum that she'd leave the show if Sweet T stayed. That sent a strong message. Dr. Mimi seemed to play it safe, distancing herself from Sweet T and aligning herself with the original cast members, especially Quad. It seemed like Mimi was more interested in keeping her position on the show than defending Sweet T. Fans started to wonder if Mimi was just protecting herself. By aligning with the OGs, especially someone like Quad, it would guarantee her a safer spot in the group. But just when Sweet T thought things couldn't get any worse, another betrayal surfaced. This time, it wasn't just about the cast, it was about the production itself. Sweet T didn't just call out one person, she called out the entire way the show was being run. She hinted that producers were actively shaping the narrative against her. She had some receipts, too. First, she hinted that certain scenes were edited in ways that made her look bad while making others look like the victims. Reality TV stars have complained about this before, but Sweet T wasn't backing down. Then, she went a step further, suggesting that production was encouraging certain cast members to target her. If that's true, it means Sweet T never had a fair chance. From the start, she may have been set up to fail. But instead of sitting back and letting the show run with a false narrative, Sweet Tea decided to speak up. She made it clear that she wasn't going to play along with the fake storylines. So, after all this drama, what's next for Sweet Tea? With everything she's been through, it's hard to say whether she'll want to stay on Married to Medicine. She came in hoping for a fresh start and new sisterhood. Instead, she's had to fight for her place every step of the way. But quitting might not be so simple. Sweet Tea is not the type to back down. She's already proven that she's willing to stand up for herself. If she leaves now, it could confirm what some of the other women have been saying, that she doesn't belong. Will she walk away? It's possible. Reality TV can be brutal, and not everyone wants to keep putting themselves through the drama. If Sweet Tea feels like the show is damaging her real life, she might decide it's not worth it. But on the other hand, she might come back stronger next season. If she sticks around, the question becomes, who will be in her corner? Right now, she seems pretty isolated, but things can change if other cast members start to see things from her perspective. Or maybe new faces will join the group. Sweet Tea could find some real allies. And let's not forget that Quad almost left the show, too. If she really does step away, the power dynamics could shift, giving Sweet Tea more room to stand on her own without Quad's shadow looming over her. So, what do the fans think? Opinions are split. Some viewers believe Sweet Tea was set up from the start and deserves another chance. They think she should come back and prove the haters wrong. Others feel like she should walk away while she still can. They believe this show isn't the right fit for her, and staying would only bring more stress and negativity. One thing is for sure, this drama is far from over, and Sweet Tea is making sure her story is told on her terms. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything that's come out. Sweet Tea went from thinking Dr. Mimi was her only true friend to realizing that maybe that wasn't the case. Mimi smiled in her face, but behind her back, she had a lot to say. Then there was the alleged plan to make Sweet Tea look crazy, and now there are rumors that production may have played a part in setting her up. The big question is, was Dr. Mimi ever really Sweet Tea's friend, or was she just playing both sides all along? Was Sweet Tea set up from the start, or is this just how things play out in the world of reality TV? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.